Are automakers really changing their minds about electric vehicles? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. After years of pushing electric vehicles, many automakers are suddenly rethinking their ambitious EV plans. And many have even cut back or delayed their plans to go electric altogether. So what exactly is going on? How does this affect you? And should you be rethinking your plans to switch to an electric vehicle in the future? Well, before getting into it, remember, if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Many automakers have recently announced that the sales numbers for EVs are not exactly what they were hoping for. High inflation, interest rates, and very high debt loads of many consumers are impacting EV demand. And given that most of the early adopters of EVs now more than likely already own one, automakers are now at the point where they need to convince every other consumer to buy an EV. And it seems that, to their surprise, that's not as easy as they previously thought. Now, I don't think that this comes as a huge surprise to many of us, certainly not for me, because I have long criticized a lot of EVs for just being way too expensive, having too many compromises when it comes to their driving range or charging issues, and just being unattainable in general for way too many consumers. But now it seems that many automakers are starting to understand this, and they are changing their plans as a result. Tesla has been slashing their prices consistently this past year, and now many of their models have reached the lowest price point in years. Apparently, Elon Musk has set a record for the most dramatic loss in his net worth, losing tens of billions of dollars in the last few months alone. And he's even put plans for a new manufacturing facility on hold as a result. Now, we know that Tesla is the largest and the most popular manufacturer of electric vehicles, so if things are getting tougher for them, you can only imagine how tough it must be for everyone else. And indeed, that seems to be the case. Ford, for example, has had a terrible time trying to sell their F-150 Lightning electric truck and the Mach-E electric SUV. The company is pushing back a second battery plant in Kentucky, and they are cutting back production of both the Lightning and the Mach-E due to slowing sales. They project they'll lose $4.5 billion this year on electric vehicles, and they've already announced that they will delay $12 billion in EV planned investments. General Motors has delayed plans to expand its electric pickup truck production at a plant in Detroit. That factory was supposed to start making the electric version of the Chevy Silverado and the GMC pickup trucks next year. Now that won't start until 2025. And there have also been delays to the Equinox EV, which was supposed to go on sale by the end of 2023, but now we're not going to see the cheapest variants until the end of 2024. GM has also canceled its plans to make an affordable electric vehicle with Honda, which they had been planning for quite some time. And it's not just the domestic brands that seem to be affected. We're also seeing this happen with a lot of European automakers as well. Volkswagen has canceled plans to build a fourth battery plant in Europe, which also impacts Audi and Porsche, both of which are part of the Volkswagen group. And Mercedes has also been experiencing a slowdown in EV sales. Their executives even describe the EV market as a pretty brutal space, which is why the company is now offering discounts to help move their inventory. What all these automakers seem to have in common is a general lack of understanding of what the average consumer is looking for in a vehicle. As nice as many EVs are, the reality is that most of them are just way too expensive for most consumers, or they come with too many compromises such as not enough driving range or charging issues. Now, I know that in certain regions, with the help of incentives, it is possible to buy a reasonably priced EV that's competitive with other types of vehicles, but unfortunately that's not the case for the majority of consumers. Now, some might say that this is all due to the economy, inflation, and consumer debt load, more so than an EV problem. But that doesn't seem to be the case because other categories of vehicle sales are not seeing the same slowdown that EVs are. One notable example is hybrid vehicles. Hybrid sales have been on a strong, steady rise every year, and the one person that's out there yelling "I told you so" is Toyota CEO Akio Toyoda himself. Toyota famously stated that EV plans of other automakers were overambitious and that there's more than one pathway to achieving a carbon-neutral future. Rather than going full out on electric vehicles right away, Toyota has steadily been increasing their lineup of hybrids to the point where the majority of vehicles that they now make is available as a hybrid, and hybrids now make up around 40% of Toyota sales and climbing. Make no mistake, Toyota has big EV plans just like every other automaker, but until they get there, hybrids are the smart, affordable option that many consumers need right now. And it's a strategy that is working. Hybrids are in insanely high demand. Almost every model has a very long waiting period because everybody wants them, and automakers just can't make them fast enough. Most Toyota, Hyundai, and Kia hybrid models must be ordered from the dealership, and sometimes the waiting periods can be several months to over a year long. Proving how clueless automakers can sometimes be, Ford should have clued into this long ago because even though nobody wants to seem to buy the Lightning at the moment because it's so expensive, the much more affordable Maverick hybrid truck has insanely strong demand, and the waiting period for one can be over a year long. And the reason this is happening is because hybrids solve most of the problems that a lot of consumers have with electric vehicles. They have no compromises when it comes to charging, range, or usability. They use time-tested technology that's proven to last and not cost a fortune at a warranty, and most important of all, they can be way more affordable for many consumers. Many hybrids are around $10,000 to $20,000 cheaper than a comparable EV, which is a substantial savings. Automakers like Toyota also believe that hybrids make much better use of the scarce resources that are needed to manufacture the batteries. Because a hybrid battery is a small fraction of the size and uses a fraction of the resources of an EV battery, it has a much smaller carbon footprint to manufacture. Put another way, you can build several dozen hybrids with the same resources it takes just to build one EV. And what's going to have a bigger impact for tailpipe emissions, replacing 50 gas guzzlers with 50 hybrids, or replacing just one gas guzzler with one EV? I think we all know the answer to that. Toyota also believes that hybrids are a necessary buffer that buys time for communities to build up their EV infrastructure and electrical grids, which, as they currently stand, are nowhere near ready to handle a 100% EV population. So a gradual changeover that includes hybrids along the way is necessary. Now, don't get me wrong, hybrid sales are still going up, and they're going to continue to go up over time because at the end of the day, they still are the future. But the technology still has a long way to go. Toyota, for example, is claiming that they are nearing the point when their next major battery technology breakthrough, solid-state batteries, can go into mainstream production. Batteries that are capable of going over around 600 miles or nearly 1,000 kilometers on a charge, that are able to charge in less than 20 minutes. Batteries that are lighter, cheaper, use fewer precious metals, and have zero fire risk. Toyota claims that these new solid-state batteries are going to be ready for mass market production well before the end of the decade. But until that time comes, there's no need to feel rushed or pressured into buying an EV at this time because the technology is only going to dramatically improve over the next few years and several years, so you can only benefit from waiting. I often describe the current state of electric vehicle technology much like PCs back in the 1990s when there was so much dramatic improvement in the technology every single year that the new model year computers were so dramatically different and better than the computers that came just 1 year prior that you could really only benefit from waiting. And that's very much how technology is right at this time for EVs. There is a very strong chance that the EVs that we have several years from now are going to be so much better than the ones that we currently have on the market that they're going to make them somewhat obsolete, or at least very dated. So again, there's no need to feel rushed into buying an EV right at this time. And if you want to get your foot in the door of vehicle electrification, a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid makes a really good alternative. I'm going to cover this topic in a lot more detail in future videos, but for now, let me know what your thoughts on buying an electric vehicle, a hybrid, or a plug-in hybrid. And if you have any suggestions for any future car videos, just leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also check out my other car videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, and if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to visit carhelpcan.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.